order. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would need a motion in a second to adopt tonight's agenda.
Mr. Mayor, we need to have an addition. 9A, we need to have call for a public hearing for an alleyway closure.
Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, I also move with the addition.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. A motion to adopt the agenda.
You just did that.
Good?
Minutes next, Mayor.
We have a second on it?
Any motion, or if there's any changes?
I didn't see anything.
I need to.
Okay.
I move
Item
to
number
approve, Mayor.
6. Second. Okay.
We don't vote.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of September 2nd, 2025 minutes.
We just did that.
Okay. You gonna vote on
We already did.
Just did.
it? Public comment. Citizens may speak on items not listed on the printed agenda. Please state your name and address and observe the 3-minute time limit.
I did not have anyone to sign up.
They signed up? Okay. Number 6, we have a meeting.
No, if you don't mind, Mayor, I'll speak on that behalf of
Okay.
board members. I'm aware of that. So we had a request for a rezoning to be heard tonight for a public hearing, and the applicant, RT Shuler Company, reached out this afternoon and withdrew their request for rezoning. They're gonna look back into the permitted use table and see what they're able to do with it. Rezone still is highway business. And then I did reach out and let them know that if they withdraw, the process does start over, so they have to go back before the planning and zoning board. And they were okay with that. So,
Petition for voluntary annexation for 452 and 454 North Jones Street, Sam and Ann Hale.
this is the property that we actually rezoned from light industrial to R8. And the map does show that they have now split their parcel so that they can put a house on the back portion of the property. They are asking for annexation for both parcels. It is address 452, and the 911 service has set up the back portion as 454. So that was not updated at the time of the printing of the agenda. But it will be for annexation of 452 and 454 North John Street. And this called for the public hearing to be held at the November meeting.
Is that the 9A, should be 7A?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
There's not a cover sheet for this.
All we're doing is call for public hearing.
That's all we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Mr.
all.
Mayor, I move with the public hearing.
Before you do that, let me ask you one thing. Has the petition for annexation, have you determined that it is sufficient in its petition?
So we've reviewed it. I've talked to Michael about because the whole purpose for them doing annexation is to connect to our sewer system, and there would be a tapping board fee. So there's no other issues that are concerned. Now it would be up to the board. If you call this public hearing, it is stating that you will hear the request from the owners. They'll be present that night at the meeting. We'll also reach out to the neighboring properties, so if there's any questions or anything, they can present that as well that evening. So, no
But
other.
in all of our departments, fire, police, and utilities, also there's no issue servicing.
Because they already do being in the ETJ. Yeah, so no issue with that.
Okay.
Thank you for clarification.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we move for public hearing. First meeting in December, is that when?
It'll be November.
November, okay. First meeting in November.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Review professional service contract agreement with GFT Incorporated, formerly TranSystems Corporation, and review paving schedule. Chris Corriher.
What? Oh, okay, okay.
Thank you for your time. We have changed from TranSystems to GFT. We merged with Gannett Fleming, and so we are now Gannett Fleming TranSystems, which is not that original, but it's really simple. So what I had talked to Ms. Jenkins about was having a contract to where the town would call us for various services when needed, which would include pavement inspection, which we did, writing the contract if necessary, which we have done in the past as TranSystems, and updating the paving program, just basically any kind of engineering service that you would need. When she calls and would want something like such as a contract, we would do a scope and a fee to give to her and have her approve, or y'all approve, excuse me, ever how that works with the town. But it includes a whole lot of different services, all kinds of inspectors, time for me to work, and just on the paving list, we did a pavement study several years ago, and we're in the process. We've got part of it down. I've been working with NCDOT, and she has they will send her an agreement to do more of the paving utilizing their contracts for the AST portion, which we thought was too high in our bid that we had a couple of years ago. And their pricing is probably $2+ a square yard cheaper than what we had got via bid. So, and that would be proposed for this next summer. It's on the neighborhood of $82,600. And that would be with inspection. The only way that would change, we would go up or down if the DOT pricing went up or down. But inspection is included in that, so we would not be, my company would not be involved with that. That's just something that me having contacts with NCDOT that I've worked with them to get her in a good place to have that option. And I've been working with her also this fall about doing some paving and calling people up to do kind of an informal bid process, which would be much quicker, take phone bids for 3 roads that we would look at doing paving this fall, provided we can get them. And I've talked to a couple already, and I think we can get somebody here to do paving. It'll be on Railroad, which we did not do in the contract due to funds. We now have the funds to do that. We would do Forest Park, which she had identified as a need for it. I think it was about 2 blocks there. It would need some patching, which I'll go over her. I got several of these that would need patching before we got to them. And then the Greenbrier stretch, what I have looked at and evaluated is it looks like there's about 250 to 300 feet when you turn left into Greenbrier in the first driveway. If you're going there from here, we would take that up and put down a medium course asphalt to be paved later, but we would put it up at finished elevation, and then we would go around the curve, and as we start up the top of the hill, it's about a 500-foot stretch that when you hit the top of the hill, that needs to come up and be done the same way. To finish that project, we have a proposal from DOT to use their contract to pave the entire road once this is done, but we felt like that 750 feet needs to be done and done quickly. And in preparation for that contract. I know if y'all been out there, there's a couple areas that are just, the road's just falling apart. So I looked at it, a month ago and evaluated and proposed to her we did that, which would be a lot less expensive than paving the whole road in the same manner. So But yeah, that the general services contract would just be something where she picks up the phone and calls or does an email, and we get a proposal for her to handle whatever work that the town needs from us. And we have many different options and things that we could do, but I think the intent on this one would be working directly with the town on their paving project, and now and in the future. Any questions?
It don't tie us to you on other things, it just says you're available, I guess.
It says I'm available. There's, no guarantees. That's why it's a very vague general contract with pricing, and we would provide a scoping fee for each item that you requested us to. So you can thumbs up or thumbs down when we send you that scoping fee.
But you think we are gonna get some paving done this fall?
I think if and she has given me the green light to call these people that I've talked to a couple, and I think we can get it done. My goal for the town of Denton is to get those 3 roads that I mentioned done: Railroad, mill and paved. Need to do some patching on Farbrook, but then get it milled and paved, and then the work I spoke of on Greenbrier. That is the goal.
Did you say Farmbrook or Forest Park?
Forest Park, I'm sorry. Any other questions?
When would the rest of this come up?
The rest of paving?
Yeah.
As well, I think she told me we had, right now, the budget's looking at about, we had $250,000 roughly to pave. Conservatively, I was figuring on 100 for DOT. And so depending on what kind of pricing I get from these other people will be what we can do maybe in the spring, where we could call them up the same way and do more paving, or add to that list if we want to, add DOT to a couple more roads. So it just depends on, if we got DOT prices, I think the work with those 3 roads will be right at 90 to 100,000, but I don't know the price on that. The fall, in full disclosure, is a busy time of year where everybody's trying to get their paving done before December 15th deadline. And, but I do have a few contacts, and I'm gonna lean on them pretty hard to, JT Russell and Sharp Brothers were 2 people who had the bids, and we had hoped to get them done and be done now, but the contract was ending, and DOT said it takes too long to get the process done, and said they weren't willing to do it on last year's contract. They closed it out in September. But I do know the people to call and talk to who I talked to before were willing to do it, but DOT wasn't willing to extend that contract. They wanted to close it out. So hopefully they'll be very positive and want to come and help, and just, I don't think we've got 2 or 3 days work out here to do it, and hopefully we can get them to get it in. I plan on calling Haynes. Everybody that bid on the first time: Haynes, JT Russell, Sharp Brothers. Well, it's not Haynes, but y'all know it's Haynes. Troll was one of them, and Todd, called Todd's because he bid on. Everybody that bid on the first one, we're going to call, and that way we should have a number of bids for the people. I know exactly what to tell them, tonnages and everything. And plus their mobilization in, so everybody's bidding on the same exact page.
Just one clarification, because that project would not meet the threshold of 300,000, we can do an informal bid. So for him to call and get prices over the phone or submitted by email is fine without having a formal bid.
Yeah, I'll definitely have them email me.
Is this the one you said was 80,000?
That would be the DOT
It's on the
proposal.
backside.
Yeah, flip right over. There you go. You get the total.
It doesn't make any difference if it's for Forsyth County and we're Davidson.
Yeah. That's from DOT. So yeah,
Okay.
JP just
I
he didn't
wanted-
change the county. So
I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that they go, oh, no, you can't do it because that says Forsyth.
JP's our former traffic engineer. He's getting acquainted in his new role. So he's.
Okay.
I think it's the first time this might be the second contract he's worked on.
And it's got Greenbrier on here, but you got Greenbrier on the other deal.
Yeah, to do Greenbrier, to do the 300 feet and the 500 feet, and then that would put the same surface over the whole thing
Okay.
to seal it off.
Because we did do half of it several years ago.
But part of it's in good shape. It's been crack sealed. It's in good shape. Whoever did that or looked after that did well. But now's the time to preserve it, and that's what that contract would do: preserve it for a good while.
Okay.
Once we get those two sections that are really bad fixed.
Before December. We need to
That's,
do it before December.
that is the goal, yes. Yes, I do not want, that man, we're in good standing. I don't want him to have to fight it all winter long, because that road was, with a rough winter. And if you believe in the persimmon seeds, everyone I've seen's been a spoon. I was like, oh my
You're gonna
goodness.
have a rough winter, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't want him to have to fight, that road all winter long. We won't get that. That would be the first one I'd ask him to go do, so.
On the contract where it has Forest Park Drive from Golden Street to West Salisbury,
I think that is a typo.
Okay.
We looked at that, the original, I think this is pulled off that, so it would be Golden Street to, Bonding Road.
Bomby Road, okay.
And it's to the right, so if you come out there at Johnson's house, it's going from that around the curve to the right, back out to Bomby.
Okay.
Yeah, that's mine that I
Yeah.
see. So
Yeah. And that
I
was
got
what
the one
we-
I see, but that's what
Yeah.
he sent back.
That
So-
was, that was the first original,
Yeah.
and we corrected it, but it
Okay.
got transferred over that
Thank
way.
you.
Anything else, Mayor?
No, thank you very much.
All right, well, thank y'all, appreciate your consideration.
Thank you.
So with, the consideration of the, like you said, the, contract with them, just so that if we are ready to move forward with something that's calling them, they can step in and do the project and provide us a cost. So we would need a vote of the board if you want to have their services available to us at call. And like I said, the prices would be, we would still get a quote, hey, we wanna do this, and this is how many hours we think it would take, this is the price that it would be, so you would still have that coming forward, but they would be our first contact for that.
And you can have other services, if I understood that right.
Yes.
Yes. For the first services we would offer through that contract, if approved, will be the paving of those 3 roads. But the DOT pricing you have in front of you comes with an inspector, so that will be covered. You can see cost for overhead in there about 8%, so they have that in there.
Consideration and approval, trip sponsor agreement.
We need
to
to,
do something
we
this
need to
way.
vote on this real
Make
quick.
an action on this.
Okay, so we need to approve the contract.
Yeah.
Somebody make a motion in a second.
I make a motion to approve the professional services contract agreement with DFT.
I said, sorry.
Second. Any further discussion on this item?
Did the attorney look it over, I assume?
Yes, I did.
Throw it in there.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and approval of trip sponsor agreement 2025. Friends of Hinton Parks and Recreation, W. Johnson Park Project. Angela, can you speak to us on that?
I will. So Chris Phelps, been here many times, presented, proposed plans for the Johnson Park property that's off of 4th and Broad. And at their last trip board meeting, and I will maybe refer to Commissioner Morris, being that he is on that board as well, for any input on this, if you will. This is an agreement for them to be able to move forward with assisting us in the funding process for the park, and also an agreement that, they're gonna provide their services. It outlines what our responsibilities are. The trip board is a 501(c). I did reach out to Chris Phelps this afternoon. Mayor Ward had a couple of questions that I wanted to clarify with him. One being is, as the grantee, do we establish that board? Because it speaks of the grantee being a board, the Friends of Denton Parks and Recreation. It doesn't refer to the Board of Commissioners. Now, we can establish a board, or you guys can act as that board. So that would be one thing that we would need to consider. And then the other thing is, pardon me, I'm just gonna pull up I couldn't get him by phone, so I sent him a text message. Okay, so he did respond, I apologize. I asked him a question regarding the, if someone makes a donation to this project, do they want us, because there's a separate bank account established for that we would process it through the town, make a check and deposit it into that account so that it's accounted for, or do we account for it separately here? And he said there is a separate account for the funds donated to the Friends of Denton Parks and Rec. We would not need to deposit funds into a capital project, have not for other agreements. This is very flexible to purchase materials and construction approved for the project. So that was our main
I
concern.
think they keep the money separate
Yes.
in their account.
Yes, they do. So if someone made a donation through the town, we would just in turn
Send it to them.
send it to them. So, and track it on our side, just so we have proof of where it came in and where it went. But they will, in the agreement, it does outline everything as being, we can ask for audit of the funds. They can ask for the same for us if there were donations coming through here, and projects would be able to continue to move forward. But,
Yeah, I think he furnishes audit every year for it.
he does.
And
that-
he's already raised $15,000, I think.
Okay, good. They are planning to set up at our event on Saturday, like they have before the past couple of years. They'll put out information about the park, but any of the sales of the alcohol beverages does go to the park funds. So, and then with this moving forward, we'll be able to hold fundraisers if we wanted to.
Yeah, he can hold them and we can, and he can apply for grants and all
That's
too.
what I say, and the grants will be the other thing. We can apply for that as well. So if you guys have any questions or concerns about this agreement, it's a standard agreement. I'm sure that with every town that they've gone in and worked with on other parks, it's what the agreement has been with them as well.
Yeah, we've done it for Lexington, and we're gonna talk about Lexington and other nonprofits like the Roadies and Dirties and all those different clubs.
All right. I guess the approval of this, and then also determining, at one time we did have a board that we kind of put together to serve as that Johnson Park. It's been quite a while since Chris met with them. If you wanted to reappoint a board to serve as that Parks and Rec board for the Friends of Denton project, or do you want to act as the commissioner board, act as that board as well?
That was me and you, and was it Ann?
I wasn't on that.
No, it was
I know I was on it, but then
John Fuller. Seems like from Parks and Rec was Becky White, Barbara, I think Commissioner Morris. Seems like there was one other person from the community, but I'm not even sure who that was. We could, ask if they're willing to serve again, and that way, now that we're able to move forward, and we've got the agreement, and Chris would have someone he could reach out to, and they can report back to the board.
I don't mind doing it.
Yeah, let's just see who was on it first.
Okay, all right, we'll look back.
Bring it back to us,
We will,
I'd say, with you, Mayor.
That'd be
okay.
a good plan right there.
We'll bring that back, for the November
So
meeting.
let's go ahead and approve this.
Yes,
Has our attorney looked at it?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Cause I read that thing like twice.
It's fairly standard.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been wanting to see that done before I die.
Hang on just a little longer.
Okay.
Okay, we need a motion and a second to approve.
I make a motion to consider, the consideration approval of trip sponsor agreement 2025, Friends of Denton Parks and Recreation, the W. Johnson Park project.
Second. Any further discussion on this? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Yeah, Paul, you know how much money we got in the town account for that?
I'm sorry, I do not. We can get that to
Okay.
you.
I was thinking it was $10,000 or something close.
something along that. Pull that
So
out
it-
and send it.
would that money stay with the town, or does that money go into that?
I guess once the account's established, we would transfer that over so that they have the access to it and can move forward with the project. So, because it was established several years ago, that's what that funding would be for.
Alleyway closure, east side of Johns. And west side of Anderson. Tax ID is 705-400-300-0001. And the property belongs to Tom and Mary Norris. Can you speak to us on that?
We received a call regarding this parcel. It is up for sale, and the current GIS mapping that you're looking at does not show an alleyway, but there is and has been an alleyway that runs right in between the numbers. So between 9-1, 210, 311, 412, 513. There is no formal filing for this alleyway closure. They cannot find a deed that has that update on there. We've looked back through minutes, we've looked through files where we track the alleyway closures, and we do not have any information on that. So this is in order for us to officially close this alleyway to give them the rights to sell it without an alleyway open.
And they on both sides of it, right?
They own both sides of it, yeah.
Who owns this piece?
That, what's their name? He used to work for, he was at the fire department and at the hardware store. He passed away a couple of years ago. Carol's mom, she's at the nursing home.
Parnell?
No.
Who?
You know.
I know, but I don't know who it is.
I know.
Hey, you people are
He went to
local.
church.
Y'all
I know.
can't tell me
Great
this.
guy.
Leroy?
Leroy.
You remember I told you this, y'all, my mind is blank on that now. His brother worked at, both of them worked at the hardware store. Or his
Waste
mom used to be.
Covington.
Yes, that's it, because his mom used to be over the parade, Miss Carol.
Carol.
Carol is Craig.
Carol's
Craig
not.
Covington is the one that
Yes,
passed away.
that's their property. It's on
Okay, I got it.
Anderson, like when you turn off at Carol and they go.
Theirs is the last house in the city limits.
Yes,
I got you.
yes,
I see that Craig and Molly Covington.
Yeah.
thank you. I can't remember their name. But, we have, like I said, we have looked back through, I did speak to their, realtor today. They're wanting us to fast track this, but I explained that by GIS, by North Carolina General Statute, we have to do a 4-week posting. Now, the issue is, it's too late to do a posting for the Denton Orator for this week. Paper's Wednesday. So that would push us to not being able to have it till December if we did it in Denton Orator. Would you as a board approve us doing it 4 consecutive weeks in Lexington Dispatch?
Do they pay it? That,
Yes, they do have to pay for
Okay.
an alleyway
yeah, I'm
closure.
fine with it.
Okay, all right, so we'll do the, 4 consecutive weeks starting with Saturday, so that we can have it for our November 3rd meeting.
And you'll send notice to Craig and Molly Covington.
Yes, we do, and any of the other surrounding properties.
I think that's the only one that it actually touches,
Does the road count?
because the road, there's unopened streets on the other side.
Touches somebody right down here.
We normally
I
act
bet
as,
maybe.
Well, does the alley, or does the alley stop right here?
Oh, the alley. I was talking about
We're doing
the
the alley.
property.
the alley itself runs just through here, it's
Right,
stopped
the
here.
alley is just right through here, so that's the only property it would touch, other than theirs. Because
It's only
that's a
closing
street.
one.
So we don't act as if
Just
the
closing
street
that part.
wasn't there, because this is an unopened street.
It's unopened, but we don't, it doesn't matter, because it's still an actual street.
Okay.
So, Craig and Molly
So
Covington
just
is
the
the only
Covingtons?
parcel.
Okay,
What?
Well, I think the alley one's the
Oh, it's
one.
not
Yeah,
that?
no, the alleyway, actually, I have drawn it in here, it runs like
Okay,
this.
okay. I was,
Can you turn
That's a
around?
street,
Covington
yes.
now?
Sorry, runs like this.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, everybody see that?
Yeah, I can tell, so that's that, yeah. It bumps up with the Laney property right here. I think that's the Laney property.
The alleyway, I think, stops here, right at Craig and Molly Covington. I don't think it extends to this one here.
It's like Wesley would have closed that when he's mayor, don't it?
Feel like something.
But this is Mary and Wesley.
Yeah, Tom.
Right.
Yeah.
okay, so we'll need a motion to call for public hearing for the November 3rd and to have it advertised in the, paper.
Lexington.
Yep, in the Lexington paper for consecutive weeks.
I make a motion to call for a public hearing for, the property located along the east side of Jones Street and the west side of Anderson Street in Denton, tax ID 0705400300300014001.
November 3rd. in the dispatch.
November 3rd in the dispatch.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On these department reports, Mike James is not here tonight, so.
If you don't mind, I'll address the board with that.
Okay.
So Chief James, had a fall on Saturday, and, his wife took him to urgent care today. He has, a break, and he also potentially torn ligaments, so it may possibly be surgery. So.
Yard will get you every time.
Yes, and he said
Hickory nuts.
hickory nuts, he wants anybody who wants them to come get them, because he's gonna tear the tree down. So, but he is not available for us tonight, but if you have any questions on his report, I'll be more than glad to answer any questions you might have if I can. I think I've got copies of the reports.
How close are we to hiring?
So he came in this morning, and we actually held, another round with the top 2 for the position, and so we will, we're hoping to make that decision this week. He's got to do background checks on everybody. And unfortunately, he has to go to each agency that they have worked for now and do, a review in person. So, got some really good candidates. I think either decision that he makes will be a really good fit for our department. So hopefully, we can get that done, depending on what surgery looks like for him. And he did go to Madison to try to help with the state SBI investigation and the cash mart investigation, where they had the break and entering the other day. They have hit small towns where they've done the same process of removing glass from the door, going in and entering the property without setting off alarms. So there's about 6 different locations at different towns that have had the same making of this happening. So hopefully we can get some information that can be pertinent to finding out who is doing this. On the fire department report, Travis is not available to be with us this evening either, and he just giving an update on their calls: 4 structure fires, 7 public service, 3 traffic accidents, 1 medical assist, 1 outside fire, and 6 fire alarms. They've had 207 calls to date, and then they've been working on the maintenance for town hydrants. Continue to build inventory and checklist into fireworks. They sold air packs to Silver Valley for $4,750. And then we should receive the check next week for air packs that are being sold to West Lexington at $25.50. Obtaining quotes for an annual truck and pump maintenance as well as pump testing. And Jason's not with us tonight, so I will look at the water report if you don't mind. Jason is doing well. He actually came by the office last Thursday and is looking much better. He's getting his strength built up, and he hopes to be back in the next couple of weeks. And as long as he gets a good report and release from the doctor, so we look forward to having him back. Just to let you know that they have all 4 basins have been cleaned. They had a contractor come out and look at installing a discharge meter, which is something that was requested on our last state inspection, is that discharge be metered, so they're aware of how much we're putting back out into the system. They got the carbon feed system fully operational with the lake turnover earlier than expected during August. This caused the taste and odor issues, and the day this was noticed, all staffing were dedicated time and attention to address this, and getting the carbon feed and the basis clean has helped address this issue. A new building was installed with the pumping system, and that has helped them be able to feed the carbon more regularly.
What kind of new building?
It's just a little outbuilding, just a storage building to cover over the tank that's there. So
Is that the reason we didn't feed it early enough?
the carbon itself, the line has been clogged, and we've been waiting on Russell Underwood, I believe I'm saying that right, to come look at it. If Michael can correct me if I'm wrong. And they had not been, so they devised another way to get the carbon bed without having to have that line replaced, since we couldn't get them here to assist with that. But it's just a little outbuilding that sits right at the back side of the basin. You wouldn't even see it if you came by, drove by the road. It just covers that. Radiological testing was performed and passed. Total organic carbon testing performed and passed. Inorganic chemical testing was done, and then none were detected and or below regular limits. Additional training for operators and updates of standard operating procedures were done during this time. And then individual lockers were ordered for the staff, so full-time can have a place to put their PPEs and any other supplies they need for their job. You guys also contacted a vendor for the flow meters and calibrations. We seem to feel like the calibrations are a little bit off. We have a company that does that, but meaning that our water flows seem to be higher, we're wanting to make sure that that calibration is correct with the way that it needs to be. Inline chlorine analyzer has been replaced and is operational, and then replace the pump for a streaming current unit. Other needs are his regular needs, sludge bags. We actually are going to have a land application next week. Next week, Michael?
Yeah.
Monday. There's a caustic leak on the back wall that needs to be addressed. Need to get a contractor to the plant for flow reading, calibrated correctly, raw flows and finished flows, which is something that Underwood is working on. Land app, this was written before we had that scheduled, and then some type of baffling wall put into the basins in order to help settling going into the winter. The additional stuff on the back is kind of long-term, but he did have a personal note he wanted to share with everyone, and that was to thank everyone for their hard work, dedication, and support during his absence. Everyone for the management, public works, staffing, and operators, a debt of gratitude. I'm thankfully recovering from significant surgery. I've been staying in regular contact with staff and management. Everyone has really stepped up and went above and beyond to keep the plant operating well. I hope to return full-time in October. I want to thank everyone for their prayers and support through this challenging time. So, the other ones I will let the guys address. If it's okay, David, do you want to go ahead and do the wastewater treatment plant?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank y'all. Some of you probably don't even know me. I've been here for a little over 3 years now, and maybe the first time you're seeing me, but David Nicholson, and just briefly, they told me to keep this short and sweet, but I just want to briefly say that I graduated high school in '83. In '84, I went to work in the body shop with my dad. Learned how to paint, tape up cars, sand them, and everything. Did that for the next 37 years. And then the old story, new owners come in, I don't fit in no more. So at the age of 56, I found myself with having to start over again. No job, no insurance, nothing. So one day I'm staying with my daughter who lives in town, and I see these 3 guys roll up in a golf cart. One of them hops out, looks at the meter, hollers out a number. The other one writes it down. They go on, and I think, I can do that. That was just touching the surface of what was involved in this job. But I've learned a lot. I told Mike, I've shared with him several times, I don't know, I got an interview, and I don't know why they looked across the table at this old fat guy with little experience and decided to give me a job and take a chance on me. But I said all that just to say that I'm very appreciative for the job here and for the town. Thank y'all for making this town a good place to work for. But anyway, a couple years ago, I started helping Troy out. Troy's a good man, smart man. He's a patient man. Believe me, I've asked a lot of dumb questions the last couple of years. But he's been good, pushing me to get my schooling done, get my certifications and all. And told him I'm not as young as I used to be, Troy, and I don't think as good as I used to. But it's working out so far. And yeah, I've learned a lot from Troy, from Mike. Angel has been great. I've never worked for anyone cares as much about her employees as she does. But I'm just thankful to be here and thankful for y'all.
Well, let me tell you something. We're thankful that you're here.
I appreciate that.
And we appreciate the fact that you passed your 2 tests. That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I haven't heard a single word negative about you. So we do appreciate everything you did. Mike's raising his hand.
He's actually passed.
Yeah, I passed 3 levels of biological wastewater, and I passed a maintenance class and collections class. I passed the collections 1 this past month, and hopefully it's sitting for level 2 in December. So,
Wow.
I appreciate y'all. As far as the plant goes, we did have a land application event in the end of August that went really well. We had
Where was that held? What was it, a new place or?
no.
Okay.
If you,
Sexton property. The
yeah,
Sexton property.
out Burlington Industries out there.
Okay.
Take a look. We got inspected and that went well. And then, like it says, I did pass my 2 exams, and J.S. Herring came out, took measurements for the new bar screen. Hopefully that comes about soon. I think Troy shared with y'all last month that we had a pump go out on North Main. We did get a new pump in and got that replaced, and it's working fine. There's the Tetra filter at the treatment plant had blown a gasket. We got that fixed, and it's working fine now. And also, Sanford Electric came out. We had an influent pump that had been cutting off on us a couple of times a month. We kept resetting it. A couple of times a month turned into 2 or 3 times a week. And we finally had them come out, and they replaced a transformer in that, and it's working great now. Yeah, the only bad news is the clarifier that went down. What happened with that is that you have the flights on the bottom, and the turnbuckles turn them, and one of the turnbuckles broke, all underwater, and it laid down there, and it kind of wore the gears out trying to move. So we're going to send that drive unit off to get that fixed. Hopefully, in the next month, we'll be back full strength before the rains hit us. Any questions? Thank y'all.
Good job. Thank
Nice to meet you.
Congratulations on passing.
Thank you.
you. Michael High. Public Works.
Y'all know when David paid me that $11 to hire him? I would have asked for more, but like I say, he needed a job. Should have asked for more. Our usual work, we done the bulk out and pick up that 1 week through September 22nd, but it wasn't as bad this year as it has been. Water leaks, they're kind of slowing down now. I think we fixed about every line we have. We put a sewer tap in for the church over here on Snyder. Had to cut that DOT road, and we got it in. We're gonna have to put a pump and all in, but we got our taps in. We've been working at the water plant over the carbon pump and washing basins, and we're gonna help them do the light app Monday. And the sewer plant. All the parts are ordered for, what did Jason say? All the parts are ordered for Jason's circuit sweeps. We ordered them. Okay, yeah, all them parts are ordered. Gonna be a couple months, or way over, to get the parts in. Cause all that stuff's kind of specialty from Leopold. They got, I reckon, make it. We got this building up. Only thing we done on the carbon, I just run a pipe up the wall into the flash mixer.
and they put that little 6x6 building right there. And we put a pump and a holding tank right there just to pump it straight over the wall into it.
You got a freeze?
No, I had Sanford Electric go down there and get rid of all the drop cords. So I had them put plug-ins and all down there for pipe heaters and all. But as soon as my salesman gets back, we're going down there, we're gonna find a pump to put it back in the room it's supposed to be in. That's the problem, the pump seems to be wearing out from the head pressure coming off the raw water line. It's not overcoming the head pressure long.
Is this a little building to the right there, what comes in the plant?
Well, yeah, it's the block building.
Block building.
Where it is now is if you go all the way around the back of the plant, it's right against that wall in the corner.
What's in that building now, the block building?
Cabinet for. We're gonna put the carpet back in there, but I gotta get a pump up coming. But all of Troy's parts, I think, are in, or ordered for the two clarifiers. Well, one clarifier gotta be sent off. We got the gearbox, the bearing. You got the bearing. We gotta go down there and tear that clarifier apart and put a new gearbox on one, put a bearing on it. We'll get the other one tore off, they gotta send it off, get it rebuilt, and we'll get that gearbox put back on, and like he said, sewer line will be back going. And I reckon everything else we do.
Like the caustic leak in the back wall.
It's a union. It takes 3 minutes to fix.
So you're fixing it tomorrow?
No, I got to unstop the sewer line at Troutman's Barbecue tomorrow. I was over there for 4.5 hours today, and I didn't get it unstopped today. I gotta go back to Troutman's, dig it up, unstop it tomorrow.
What about the calibration on the meters? Is that the same, both these the same person?
The company that was doing the meter calibration at the water plant, I told Jason, me and him talked about it a couple times. I know how to calibrate the meters. Them people can do it in, I swear, I think it's under a minute. And I told Jason, we need to get somebody else in there to check this. So he's done some checking around, talked to some other water plants and got the recommendations on who calibrates their meters. So we're just gonna double check our calibrator and have them calibrate it, just to make sure.
And I met with Russell Underwood's group one time. They said that they just said in all the experience they had had, even under 15 minutes per calibration was unheard of.
Yeah, we just want the calibrator calibrated.
Yeah, we just need to know if we are using more water than we think you're using or whatever.
Exactly.
Well, see, when we get the meter on the outfall, that'll tell us exactly how much water is being wasted at the water plant going out to the creek. Because everything there that don't go in the septic tank from the laboratories goes into the lagoon and out the outfall. So it'll give us another figure to, measure and worry about.
Is it still like water, is it leaking still there at the road?
Where at?
Right when you come in there on the left?
No, I've looked at that, looked at it.
So much water seems to be standing there.
I'll tell you what I honestly think it is. It was a mistake.
Obviously.
It was a mistake. And it's a mistake on the DOT's part. The DOT, when we replaced that water line across that road, we always pack dirt back in the water line. And then we put stone in, and then they pack it in, and they pave it. DOT wouldn't let us do that. We had to fill up stone up to the top of the pipe. Well, actually about 6 or 8 inches over the pipe. Then they made us put floor to fill in, that concrete, liquid grout. And then they made us pave it. All right, well, it goes all the way over to the ditch on the other side of the road. Now, what happens when the ditch fills up with water? And there's a 5 foot wide by 4 foot deep layer of gravel. It's gonna shoot right through that gravel, right across the road into the water plant's front yard. There ain't nothing to stop it.
I noticed even when it was really dry, I thought,
Yeah, it never
man, that's a
dries
lot
up.
of water, huh?
Never dries up.
No, I mean, you got that creek coming through the woods and the ditch going both ways. So every drop of water that goes in that ditch is coming across the road to that water plant. That's the only thing I can come up with, because it's not testing for chlorine or fluoride.
I just wondered, when all it was so dry out those months and still y'all had water down there.
Now, there is a leak in the wall out there in the front yard that I got fixed.
Is that the same one we have?
Well, no, and it could possibly be some of the water that's in the driveway. When I was down there working a while back, I noticed it was leaking around that manhole. We pumped it out, and there's a small leak in that manhole on a 3/4 inch line. I got to fix it. But are you working?
Thank you, Mike. Administration, holiday.
The 11th of September, we billed 1,092 customers. Gallons billed was 4,234,083, which billed out at $109,675.84. Gallons billed 797 gallons for 3 final accounts, and that should read September usage, and that was $186.84. Total gallons unbilled, which is for town-owned property, is 312,801 gallons. Handy water gallons used for September, 35,124,300, and that billed out at $63,430.97. We've been working on Cycle in North Carolina. Angel has kept everyone updated on that. The event is tomorrow, and we are looking forward to that. So I believe everything's been worked out on that as far as volunteers and everything. So if you've got a moment, I'm going to stop out and see what's going on. In regards to the Christmas party catering, we had done an RFQ out to local restaurants as well as on-time catering. Mary with Buttercup had informed us she already had a commitment that date. I had reached out to Jennifer because I had not heard anything back from the Village Restaurant, and she told me she would work on a quote and get it to us, but to date still have not received anything on that. On-time catering gave me a price regarding what they could do, and if everyone's good with it, I'll move on with on-time catering for the arrangements of the event. Elizabeth placed another order for memorial flags, bringing our total collection to 175. This has been a remarkable growth in that such a short period of time, and really talks about her dedication to this whole process. I would like to extend a thank you to her, because it is quite consuming to pull all of that together and get everything ordered and checks and balances to make sure everything's done. Staff's been working, preparing for the upcoming Dentistry Festival, which will be held Saturday the 11th, this next Saturday. And I'd like to really say thank you to Robin for all your hard work and leadership and organizational skills on that. So a lot goes into that. And that's the extent of my report. Any questions?
Appreciate you, Robin. I need to find out what I'm gonna do. Do we know what the gain is with, since the new meters month over month?
I did not do that report, but I can send that out for that. And if you guys would like to have that every month, I can certainly do that.
Yeah, I thought that's what we had asked for. It's for 6 months. I mean, not 6, for the next 6 months.
We can certainly provide that.
That looks like our unbilled gallons, is that down some? You
It
remember?
is.
It's down a lot.
It is down a lot from
The
last
sewer
month.
plant was a lot less this month than it was last month. I don't know why, but that one's less.
We fixed a bunch of water leak.
I think Handy's was at 50% last month. Lossage.
I guarantee you, we fixed 18 water leaks in the last 2 months.
Yeah. But not 50%, thank goodness.
On the vendors at the festival, we run about like we usually do, or a little more, a little
I
less?
think we're right in line. I'm just now starting to do my placements, but it looks, we've got a lot of new ones this
Okay.
year. But I think we're gonna be right in line with, it looks like it's gonna be pretty full. barring any bad weather, hopefully, so. But looks like it's supposed to be okay.
Looks like we're gonna be teeter-tottering, aren't we?
Listen, we started out with pour down rain and rainbow
Sunshine.
and it was a great day, so.
Robin, do they have to stay all day or up to them? I guess they can't hold them there.
If they're gonna wanna leave early, it'd really be good if they let us know so we could put them where they could get out.
Yeah, I just mean if anybody's let you know, because I'm sure if things,
Well, they have before, I haven't had anybody tell me
Okay.
that this year.
I mean, we can handle it, but
But I mean, they have before said, I need to leave at like 3 or 4, and I put them at the end,
okay,
you know, so they could get out. But I hadn't had any questions for that this year.
okay. We'll handle it if it comes.
The only other, thing I think we talked about by email was with the trip board trying to get in, to set up before 2 o'clock. So maybe directing them to come in on Anderson, it would be easier for them to access that area.
Yeah.
So,
Town manager's report.
let me
Town attorney.
Actually, if I could defer my report until after our closed session, I would appreciate that if it pleases the commissioners.
Okay.
You just read my mind, Mayor, that's all it was.
So, several items, you do have a copy of your flex plan. I sent that with the updates that this is something that the Davidson County has requested of our fire department to sign off on. It's just basically stating, that they have use of that this is the guidelines and this is the consequences if the guidelines are not followed. Travis signed for the department, I as the manager, and we send that into the county. And a couple of items that I've given you outside of the actual report itself. One being the update for our core line. This, I did give you a copy of the information that was sent by email. And the quote that they have sent back is still at $109,019.77. As he explained that revised quote, there are some remaining meters that need to be finished. The original quote included 6-inch meters for handy. This quote includes the 3-inch 6-inch meters for handy. And then there were 4 6-inch meters originally quoted. So the project actually is a little bit of a wash there. They've not been able to give us the credit back on that. They don't know with what we still have if they may still need that. So we don't have a dollar amount on the quote. Returned the stuff yet. We've not returned it. So the
Do you have
quote.
any idea when we might do that?
Well, it's all going to depend on when G2 comes out and does that installation of the final push out. Like the few meters residential that need to be done, which they're waiting on the quote to be approved to make this difference. So until they're completely done, we don't know what will be returned and what's not. I will say there's a lot of meter box lids that we will not use in a lifetime, so those will all be returned. And then there's several other things that Michael and I were looking at, a couple of larger meters that they're not going to use, but we just
Okay,
don't know the dollar
clarify
amount.
for me. So they can't give us the final quote until
The final-
we have returned the work or the remaining parts. We're not gonna be able to return those till they come do the final work.
Right.
So they want us to approve a quote that they can't give us?
Well, this quote is for what they have discovered needing to be done to finish out the project. And
Does it include the master meters though?
It
for
does.
Andy? Okay.
so this quote includes everything,
And how much is that?
$109,000.
109,000.
So the original quote didn't include the handy master meters,
No.
not the meters at all,
No.
after we asked for it 100 times.
They did come to the shop a couple weeks ago and do a inventory of what was left
Right.
and what they was gonna take back and refund us and all that.
Do we have an estimate?
No, we do not. And
They were real good when they was selling it, they ain't too good going the other way.
so the original quote included, as stated here, it included 6 4 6-inch meters that were originally quoted, so for Handy, it's one less. And it's one less because Handy already has one master meter of this caliber installed, and that's the one on Bombay Road. They just
But
replaced
that
the
one
master.
will be managed by
Okay.
us moving forward.
Well, it depends, if that's,
Well, and we're gonna talk about that in closed session too.
yeah, a bit more on that.
But
So,
go back, tell me just what you just said.
okay,
The original quote included
so it says
6?
here,
No,
four,
4 master meters.
4
6
6-inch.
4 6-inch master meters, and we need 3 meters for Handy. Because they already have one. The other meters that are quoted on this quote are what they have discovered when they have gone out. We give them whatever our, meter count was. We're assuming they're all the same, they're household meters, but over some period of time, some were replaced differently. So we're still in need of having 1.5 inch meters, we need 2-inch meters, we need 3-inch meters, and then the 6 by 18 ultrasonic meters. So there's several things that were discovered that we were not aware of were in the ground. We're not aware, like I said, we can tell you this is what we have. Until you put hands and eyes on every single meter, you don't know.
So what are the master meters? Are they the ultrasonic ones?
No, they're the 6-inch meters.
So then the original quote did include 4 6-inch, but
Yeah.
we only need 3.
Right.
Right.
So it is, I
That's
know, it's a
confusing.
difference of the pricing, like they're saying that this is what we need to completely finish. So that's why, as I told you today, it's a little confusing
Not a
because
little.
I know,
That's a lot. Because
It's-
I thought all along we were being told that they did not include the master meters in it, but now you're telling me they
No.
did.
they didn't include the master meters, they included those 6-inch meters, thinking that we had them for like, our connections for like Mount Vista, the meters at the factories here in town, things like that.
So
So
are
they did
those-
include them, but
Is that different than what we need for Handy?
Handy or 8-inch, right?
no,
No,
they're
this
6-inch,
is
right?
Just 8 inch. Well, the old Hershey MCT2s, they was 2 and 6 inch.
It's in-
And they got the 180 line.
It has that they have 2 8-inch meters that were not part of the original quote that have been discovered since they went out and did the actual, audit of the system and trying to get them installed. So it's almost like it's a wash if you look at it. This is saying that we need, let me look real quick and find the 6-inch meters.
They want us to approve this and pay them $109,000, and they're gonna give us back about 10 maybe.
So when did they do the inventory month?
2 weeks ago, but now we still need the 6-inch meters for DuPont on number 8, Century Hosiery. They still hadn't changed out thermos, which that's old. They still hadn't changed out Ultramec.
Was they on the original bid?
Yeah, I think they was too.
How about just telling them to come down here?
I will.
I don't feel good about this.
I will.
And write it out where we can understand it.
And I'll see if they can potentially, we can call a special meeting for them to review this if we need to. Because that was the thing, is after I even went through with a spreadsheet trying to match everything and saying, this is the deal, we received this and we still have that, because we looked at the inventory ourselves. And
I
even
think
with
they
the,
need to come
well, yeah,
and they need to bring, here's the inventory we have of what we're returning. Here's what we originally quoted you. Here's where it all went. Here's what's left that we didn't know we didn't quote you.
Right.
Here's why. Here's your potential refund, and here's what you still owe.
Yeah.
They need to come do that. Because we've been going around and
I
you
know.
can't get clarification.
Exactly. I mean,
And
I'm
we
just sorry
can't-
for you to try to make.
well, and that's why I finally I literally just opened up a spreadsheet and dropped this information in there.
It shouldn't be this
Based on
way.
that. It should be an easy
Have a paper over there that tells who needs.
who still has, and so,
Yes,
yeah,
I've got that.
so we still have about 15, 16,
I'd say it's around 20.
right at 20 that home rent or business.
And
that needs
most
to be
of them
switched out.
are business or handy.
Yeah.
So,
Because the thing, I mean, out of all of this, the thing that makes the least sense to me is that they already quoted us 4 6-inch meters, but yet they have 3 more right here on this quote.
Well, because I think what I'm hearing from Michael is that there's other things that need those 6-inch meters other than just handy. The businesses that you
DuPont.
named.
Yeah, DuPont,
Yeah.
Ultimate.
But in the verbiage, he's saying that we would have one left, that there was one less needed than what they thought originally.
Because it was at Bondi, right? And that one less
That's
at
what I'm
Bondi
saying, it doesn't make any sense.
that we
Yeah,
don't know if we're gonna,
They may understand, but I don't.
Angel, why don't you do this? Before we call a meeting or tell them to be here, tell them that by, what's today, Monday? Tell them that by Thursday of this week, no Wednesday, they can do it by Wednesday.
Okay.
By Wednesday, I need a detailed explanation of the original bill, the proposed inventory they took to return, and what is still remaining and why it was not included. And send that to me, and then if that makes sense, we may not need them to come, but if it doesn't make sense, then
Yeah, it don't make sense the way it is right now.
Send it to me.
I'm not
Yeah.
smart enough to understand it.
I'll CC you in that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds like Chinese right now.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, it does.
Judge.
Okay. So that's that. The other information that I've given you tonight, this is looking at the proposed, Sunny work. We do have 2 bills. They're both highlighted. You'll see January 2nd and then this one from August. January 2nd is when we approved for them to actually do the engineering work for the John Street property. And, it was at a cost of $25,000, $25,500 for them to do that. The information was presented and, even almost just like we said with the others, much as we've said it, and I told Commissioner Bean tonight, you know, in January, it does say 6-inch main water extension. I didn't catch that. I know we all looked at it, but I'm just saying, I didn't catch it saying 6-inch. So when it was presented and we said, we've always talked to you about doing a 10-inch meter extension, this is the proposed for them to do the 10-inch meter, and it's a $9,000 difference, and let me explain what I mean. The January quote had $16,000, $16,500 billed for the work that they did. So there's $9,000 left on that will be applied towards this quote. And that is for them to do that water line extension. There's a proposed plan here that I gave you a copy of, and Michael and I actually provided guidance on this information to them. It would connect to the 3rd Street to that 10-inch meter and run that on the left side of John Street down to Fletcher Lane there at the fire hydrant. There are a few service connections that need to be made along the way, but it would provide that connection. They're also looking at doing a connection under the road potentially so that there's service for future expansion or pressure, as Michael explained to them, having the better pressure there. So that's part of that. And this is, I'm giving it to you tonight. I want you to be able to take it and look at it and not for approval tonight. So I want you to have time to review it and ask any questions if you have on the note.
Angel, if you will, say one more time about the 16,000.
Okay, so the original quote was $25,500, and they have, the work that they have done so far, they billed $16,500.
Have we paid them?
No, we haven't. We've held it because of the controversy of the different water lines. So they have billed it, it is still an open payable. But we kept it open because I wanted to make sure of what we're looking at for our difference there. But if you take the $9,000 that's still left on that original contract that you guys approved in January, if you minus it from the $20,000 proposed, that's $11,000 for the additional on top of the $25,500. So it's just saying what we would owe them is the 20,000, not 20,000 plus the 9,000 from the former quote. Last week I attended the Civic Fellows Leadership Alumni Conference in Chapel Hill. Had some really good contacts and just a great time to talk to individuals and figure out different ways to do things that need to be done throughout local government. So it was a really good day. Chief and I have completed the interviews today. We had one interview left to do of an individual, and we did that last week. The top two candidates were final interview today, and hopefully we're moving forward with the hiring of one of those or both, depending on if they're for captain and or sergeant. The flex plan we've already reviewed, and Paul has already reviewed the information about our upcoming Christmas party. Say upcoming because it'll be here before we know it. The street festival will start at 9 a.m. Mayor doing an opening welcome, and then our local entertainment will take the stage. Faith and Motion Dance Studio at 9:20, Denton Martial Arts at 10 a.m., and Hickory Flat Hoedowners at 10:30. Greg Russell will be doing our DJ work for us until 12, and the Still Cruising Band will be on stage from 3 to 6. I'd like to thank everybody who's worked hard to get this done, and we look forward to having a great festival this year. We've had 8 different zoning permits this month. And just several other things, just updates that we have provided to you guys throughout the few weeks by email. Copies so that they can go into the actual minutes. The water rehab project, I spoke to Heather.
Thank you for the dates also. Thank you for
Yeah,
the dates.
you're welcome.
That helps me follow along.
Okay.
All right.
You're welcome. I spoke to Heather Miller about the water rehab project, and I copied the actual email that she sent after we spoke. It is still talking about that 2-inch water line that has to be isolated in order for them to be able to remove it. And Michael was on vacation last week, so I hadn't had a chance to speak to him with them dealing with sewer issues today. So I'll talk to Michael and see what we can do to get that hopefully finished out with state utilities. The bar screen project, I will have a date Wednesday for the actual meeting, for pre-construction meeting. It'll be all the contractors that'll be here on site. As David shared in their report, they have been out on site and worked to measure, make sure that things are being ordered correctly. But they were still waiting to hear back from one of the contractors to give us that definite date. And Heather, I'm gonna follow up with her on Wednesday on that. The I&I study, as she shared on here, the information from Wooten had not yet been completed on the sewer project due to one of their staffing being out and not being able to get that completed. So they're gonna start moving forward with our I&I project and share the information as they come along with Wooten in order to get that project underway. Wooten is continuing to work through everything. They're on the water system now, finishing up on the actual sewer side mapping. The sidewalk project, Michael and I met with the contractor. I know that the board wanted the public works to try to do those sidewalk projects, but knowing that we've got to replace the curbing makes it a little bit more difficult because we do not have the forms and things that need to be done in order to do that curbing. So we did meet with a gentleman who is very familiar with how DOT requires the sidewalks to be done, especially working with their encroachment agreements to do that. And we're just waiting on a quote. I've not heard from them. Have you?
No.
Okay, so just making sure on that. We talked about water line extension, A&I meters, railroad crossing. They're hopeful to have it with March, a starting date in March of 26, having that crossing at First Street done for the railroads. The camera system, we are asking for the update on the quotes to go ahead and bring to you guys at our next meeting for sewer plant, public works, water, and also the fire and police department, so that we can look at those proposals and, hopefully get their system set up and working. Chris went over the actual paving information tonight. We have been in contact with the ordinance, people, and we'll give you a timeline as soon as we can get something established with them, so you know where we are in the review process with the municipal code. We do have an EDC grant that, is for $50,000. It can be used for any type of project, just not infrastructure. So if there's something that we wanted to look at applying that to, we could use that money for that.
What kind of stipulations on it?
There's really not, it just said not infrastructure.
So we could use it for Municode?
Could, but I would think,
just,
I would think with it saying EDC, and I'll verify that, but with it being economic development, I think more like, updates to buildings, things like that.
Incentives for somebody wanting to move into town?
This is for town use.
Okay.
That help with the new town hall?
Could, yeah, most definitely. And then, the project that we did with Yates, that was a direct funding for the John Street, culvert replacement. There's about 25,000 in excess of that. And Michael has met with, Todd about potentially replacing the culverts on Council Access Road as well. They can still feed off the Bully Boy Creek, and they are another bottlenecked area of when we have large waters coming through. So, reached out to Todd and asked if they could give us the updated quotes on everything right now with the way prices have changed, and probably bring that back to you guys if you're okay with moving forward with potentially looking at replacing those culverts. I feel like that would be a good way to, it can be used for any type of infrastructure, but since it was kind of given to us for a culvert replacement, it might be a good place for us to use that funding. So, I know there's a lot of information here, but if there's any questions that you guys have, anything I have not mentioned or covered.
For 50,000, can you send us something on
I will.
what we can use it for?
I will ask for that tomorrow, and, I'll even make sure on that 25,000, there's no other stipulations that need to be done. Like I said, it was a direct fund just for that culvert project, straight from the state, so we'll check on that.
Thank you. Commissioner comments and concerns? We'll save that till last, like we usually do, anytime now. This board will now go into closed session. I will need a motion in a second.
make a motion to go into closed session.
Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
This board is now in closed session.
That'll make this thing a little less.
Increased vegetation. And something on one side, on the south side, additional setbacks, extra vegetative buffers. Okay. I'll say it before I say that.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to go back in open session.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Open session.
Thank you. So in closed session, we discussed the fact that, South Davidson Solar LLC has filed suit against the town of Denton related to the denial of their special use permit request for the solar farm. Now, if you all recall, this is the solar farm project that is largely located in Davidson County and was already approved by the Davidson County Commissioners. We had nothing to do with that. Approximately close to 500 acres was approved by the Davidson County Commissioners. Approximately 85 acres was brought to us for approval, and of course it was denied at the Planning and Zoning Board, or actually approved at the Planning and Zoning Board, and then you denied it based on the evidence that you heard at the hearing. They have filed suit against it because there is some conflict with a couple of things. Number one, with the way the ordinance is written. Whenever North Carolina adopted 160D, we hired a company to rewrite our ordinances to conform with 160D. When those ordinances were rewritten, there was an error in the ordinance that actually made the Planning and Zoning Board have a evidentiary hearing on this, and then called for a second hearing here, which is not allowed. We are currently correcting our ordinances so that this doesn't happen again, but that is a large portion of the appeal. The other portion of the appeal has to do with the fact that the evidence that was presented by townspeople, adjoining landowners, it was for the large part lay evidence. They had no expert testimony to contradict the expert testimony provided by South Davidson Solar Farm. So long story short, there is a lawsuit filed. If the town moves forward in trying to defend the lawsuit and we are unsuccessful, the town stands to lose a substantial amount of money because the town may be required to pay all of the costs related to this for not only our side but the solar farm side, which could be excessive amounts of money. And ultimately, I believe, with strong possibility, that we would be unsuccessful and be subject to paying off those fees. The South Davidson Solar Group has offered a consent judgment that would give us some additional concessions based on the information that we heard from our citizens about their concerns and things that they wanted. So in trying to make sure that our citizens are protected and that their interests are preserved, the consent judgment gives us some additional protections for additional buffer in feet. It gives additional vegetative buffers, and it also gives additional fencing area in areas that are around the swimming pool and some other areas to try to make it so that it's the least visible possible to our citizens. So it is my recommendation as legal counsel that this consent judgment be executed and approved because I believe it's in the best interest of not only the Board of Commissioners but of the town. And so that's my recommendation to you.
Question.
Yes.
If we approve the consent judgment or whatever, consent agreement, I guess, do the homeowners have a way of relief? If they have a problem, can they sue the solar company?
I'm not going to say they can or they cannot. That's up for them to talk to an individual attorney about. Lots of people sue for lots of things. But, again, they would need to talk to an individual.
Okay.
I can't give.
I wasn't sure where they had a remedy to go through if they didn't like this or whatever.
It's imperative that our citizens understand that. And of course, if they're not following what they're required to do, then the property owner does have recourse. But it's imperative for our citizens to understand that if something like this were to happen again, and which please note that we have a moratorium on solar farms moving forward, just as the county after this was approved put a moratorium going forward. But if there's anything like this that the citizens are adamantly opposed to or do not want, it's imperative that they band together and unify to retain the appropriate experts to give the testimony necessary to combat this. It's one of those things that, you know, it's kind of like I had somebody the other day that they're irritated that development's going in on a lot next door to them. Well, I've lived here for 40 years. I don't want a house built. I let my dogs run there. I hunt there. I do this. Did you ever offer to buy it? Well, no, I didn't. It's a similar type situation, and it's tough. But again, I think it's in the citizens' best interest that we move forward with this.
But there are benchmarks that they have to, the solar company has to reach. Like the first year they have to do something, the second year they have to do something. They can't just sit out there forever. And
That is correct.
Okay.
And if they don't do anything, Angel, how long is it before the permit expires?
2 years.
2 years. So if they do nothing for 2 years, it expires.
expires. Okay.
And they would have to start completely over.
Correct. And we currently have a moratorium that would not allow that.
Right.
And who determines what, if they've started?
So the thing that I've had conversations with the county, you know, they've just started clearing land, and you can see them moving forward with the southern part of that project. And it's not just visibly moving forward with the project, it's paperwork, it's them filing for their permits and things like that. So, you know, we can definitely move forward, ask them for updates on what's going on. But as long as they can show progress, that they're moving forward with their permits, they're moving forward with the project itself.
And this, our portion becomes part of the same project.
Well, this says for purposes of determining the date of permit expiration, the 1 year period of validity per NC General Statute 160D 108D shall be calculated from the date of the filing of this judgment. So the date it's signed by an actual judge and filed. In determining whether work has substantially commenced, the town shall recognize North Carolina case law that considers time worked, labor, materials, and soft costs such as engineering, environmental studies, survey, legal costs, etc.
So it is in black and white what they have to do with what we have. Okay.
Yes.
So the date starts like right
Now,
now.
once the judge signs
After okay, once it goes to the judge, then 2 years after that.
because if you agree to it, then we have to submit it to the judge for the judge's signature to approve it. And if you have questions, we do have a representative from Tom Carroll's office. Introduce yourself for me.
I'm Joseph Schufer with Fox Rothschild.
And he is here to answer any questions on behalf of the solar farm tonight, should you have any additional ones. And I will say for the record, each of you have expressed to me that you don't want to see this happen. And I want all the citizens to know that. But just because we don't necessarily want to see something happen doesn't mean that it's not in the best interest of the town to enter into the consent judgment. And so you have to put your personal feelings aside and do what's best for the town.
And the property owner can do what he wants with his property too. And it is property rights too.
It is. It is.
This is one of those days you don't enjoy being a commissioner. Because sometimes it's hard. You know, we did fight as best we could. We went from 100-foot buffer to 150-foot buffer. We, as you said, we did get vegetation increased all around. They even agreed to some opaque fencing in certain more populated areas to make it as least obtrusive as possible. It's not what I want to do, but in light of the fact that the suit has been filed and the town of Denton stands to lose substantial money in lawyer fees and having to pay their fees and everything, I reluctantly make a motion to approve the consent judgment of file 251646 CBS, because I do believe it's in the best interest in the long run of the town. That's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on this?
Mr. Mayor, I think the board has looked at this in every angle possible, and with the attorney's advice and with case law that we have researched, with the potential economic impact on the town's budget if we were to lose, and it looks like they have not lost a case in North Carolina on solar farm.
And I will add, to clarify that, the townspeople and the attorney that owns the property had brought one case to light. That case has since been withdrawn and overturned, so at this point, they have not lost any.
So I think I agree with, and it's a tough decision, but it is in the best interest of the town as a whole.
All in favor, say aye. That motion carries.
I'm gonna execute this, and then I'd like to go back in closed session.
4-0, right?
4-0.
So I make sure.
To give you this, I thank you for coming this evening. Tell Tom to give me a call tomorrow and we'll discuss the rest of the particulars.
Well,
Okay?
thank you all very much for your consideration.
Sure.
Thank you,
That was
sir.
a tough decision for you.
Be safe going home, watch your deer.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It's that time of year.
It is then.
Now we're back in closed session. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to go back in closed session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. That motion carries. We're back in closed session. Open session.
Are you online? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Well, that was quick.
See y'all tomorrow morning.
Yeah.